out, then it was like, oh my God.
Oh my God, dude, I'm gonna pass out. When his dad comes out, I can't believe Tony Khan's dad is there. That's the part that's cracking me up, and I'm like, oh my God, I've never seen him.
Well, they had this at Daly's place because the draft is tomorrow, so
You're
Tony
right.
and his dad have to be in Jacksonville.
Yep.
So they scheduled this to be there tonight, so that's why he's there for the draft.
I am gonna lose my mind, dude. I can't believe I didn't see this. Oh my God! Thank God you told me about it. I'm gonna start the show.
Oh, I couldn't let you go live without it.
Oh my God. Well, now we can say we've seen it all in wrestling. Why didn't Tony Khan just whip out that stunner he's so good at? Well, we saw that before, where Aubrey Edwards or whatever came out of her pants. Guys, if you're in the chat, please hit that like button for us. Shout out to the Girdles. Welcome everybody to Out of Nowhere. Got the WWE Draft is coming up. There's some news there. There's a bunch of wrestling news, to be honest. Tonight, Tony Khan was attacked by Jack Perry. Ridiculous. If you missed it. Oh my God, is this funny. Somehow AEW always manages to sneak in there and make me talk about him. I wasn't going to say a peep really about him, except for the Kenny Omega is coming back, that sort of thing. But AEW, man, somehow Tony Khan's like one of the most interesting people in the company at this point. It's weird. Except he's a face? What's up to everybody in the chat, guys? If you can, please click that like button for Daddy, okay? Click the like button for Daddy. We got Daddy Jake here with us tonight, too. Speaking of daddies. That's right, looking like he just robbed a 7-Eleven. I love it. Me too. Oh, man, imagine that if you just pulled it out right now for all of us to see. How beautiful.
I'm wearing pajama pants. My balls were out before. You know, the
Yeah.
little bay window. It was just hanging out.
I'm wearing
What are you gonna do?
shorts. I'm wearing shorts, baby.
Yeah, when the nut falls out of the side of your shorts, you know you're getting old. Joe, what a night. Tony Khan. He better be in a neck brace for the NFL draft tomorrow. I'm telling you, this is something to be excited about.
What if he's not? What if he looks fine at the draft and he doesn't want to do the neck brace? I mean, if I'm him,
he's got to be destroyed. He's got to sell it.
he's got to do a neck brace. I mean, like, because then everybody is going to ask him, like, oh my, hey, are you okay?
Yeah,
like, what happened to you?
He's got to sell it somehow, or not show up. The fact that his dad, I mean, I know his dad's there for the draft tomorrow. That's why they had it at Daly's place. But having his father come out to show concern and just, oh God, it broke me. This whole segment, you knew that he was going to hit him as soon as you said Tony Khan's coming out there. If Tony didn't turn heel, then you knew they were going to attack him. And I mean, they did well for as much as they could, but. Tony sold getting hit in the stomach with a microphone gently as well as he could, and then the Meltzer driver or the Tony Khan driver. I wish they busted him open, like you said, or if they went ahead and really made him suffer, that would have been worthwhile. But
I wonder why he can't fire them now or whatever.
Well, that's why I wish more people came out. I mean, they had him in that pile driver position for what felt like forever. They should have been able to send everybody out there. The Young Bucks should be screaming on the mic. Anyone comes in the ring, you're fired. You know, they're EVPs. Play up on it. You're talking, Mercedes is the CEO? No, these guys are in charge. So let's see what happens.
You know what? He looked like he got sniped from, like, the third row, Tony Khan. He looked like he went, like...
Yeah, he looked a little worse for wear at the end. But, hey, at least he... took his licking like a man. This is why they aired the Punk footage, was to get a reaction with Jack Perry. The hope was, supposedly anyways, airing the footage was hoping to get Jack Perry more over. They saw the reaction to him beforehand, and they wanted to see if it would generate more buzz. I guess that's what they're going for. To me, I kind of don't like this whole scenario because it feels shitty. Somehow Jack Perry acted like a spoiled asshole, couldn't get his way, so he got into a fight with CM Punk, who was forced onto his own Saturday show, who only wanted to be released from the company because no one wanted to talk to him like real men. He tried to broker a peace treaty to work together like men. They couldn't do it. They refused. And what we got was this ridiculous scenario where Jack Perry was an asshole, and he's benefiting from it greatly. I know it's a character now, but that was him. That was him getting goozled and choked because he deserved it. He was a piece of shit. He went out there. He did the internet stunts for himself. And I guess you could say, all right, they're capitalizing on it. But from the beginning, I hated the fact that he was the scapegoat and he's ripping up his contract. And the fact that he went ahead. Yes, you can blame Tony. You can blame Punk as well. But still, Punk's not benefiting from AEW nor this scenarios, but Jack Perry is, and it burns my ass. And I don't see him as a great heel. I don't see any real heat from this so far. I don't give a shit that they hit Tony Khan, and that's a problem.
Yeah, it feels more like it feels like I'm excited because I know that videos are going to do well right now. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like...
it's certainly going to drive buzz. Yeah,
like
Tony's first time... I mean, he's been on TV, but being in the ring to
Assaulted.
talk to someone directly, he's not done any work scenarios like this yet where he's gotten physical.
Oh, my God. Travis...
His life is in danger in the ring. I hope they're all fired, and I hope, proper legal action is taken because he should be fearing for his life. His dad had to come out there and make sure he was still breathing.
Maybe that'll be his character next week, is he'll be like, "You're all fired! Like, let me tell you!"
You know what would have been funny, Joe? If Chris Jericho ran out being like, "My meal ticket!"
Oh my God. No, dude, Travis Boyle in the chat said something really funny. He goes, imagine how Tony Khan sat up like the Undertaker. Imagine that.
Rise up.
Imagine that, and like
Tony
Khan became like a supernatural character on the show. Dude.
Oh my God.
I would die.
The higher
oh my
power.
God. He's the higher power, yeah. That'd be great. I mean,
he'll be the highest power, just to avoid copyright.
I'm the highest power. No, I don't even think WWE really owns that anyway, so I say fuck it.
Just to be careful, but honestly, it's a shit show of a night for AEW. To me personally, this night missed a lot, and I'm sorry. The pay-per-view was great. I was really enthralled with what they delivered the other night. I maybe was on the Okada, match. People seem to really be into that the other day. I wasn't crazed about him and, Roderick Strong and everything that happened, but all right, fine. And then going forward, the Bryan Danielson match, in a way, I have a problem with the trolling with him, obviously, because he has been forced to retire from wrestling. People do not want to lose Daniel again. They don't want to see him legitimately injured. So when he likes to do these awful, uncouth, maybe malaligned seizure moments, I think they should be few and far between or not done at all. I personally don't care for them. I'm sorry, but it's not for me because you can fake, the arm break, leg break, but he had legitimate seizures, and I know that's why he's playing up on it. And Brian said before he thinks it's funny, and I guess if he's working people into a frenzy, but because you have that element of the real possibility of worry in the fans' mind that you're going to lose him again. People don't want to see that happen. We've lost and thankfully gotten back quite a few stars that have had these issues years later. Edge, Page, Brian, of course. I just hate the seizure, the cell. It just bothers me personally because we've seen Brian have to have a match stopped on Raw. He infamously got into a fight with Triple H because of it. They were worried about the stinger. He wasn't responding properly. And then, of course, he had to relinquish both times after WrestleMania's his titles. The World Championship and the Intercontinental belt, went to shit as well. I've had seizures as well. It's a scary thing to come back, not know where you are, what happened, and why you're bruised. It's just not for me. And I hate saying that too because it's like, oh, well, once you cross that line, everything's got a line. Just something I didn't care for. But overall, my point is really high on the pay-per-view. I really, really liked that match. I'm glad they went and gave Swerve the belt. So coming out of Dynasty, I was excited for Dynamite. I had a reason to watch. Who's going to challenge Swerve? And I'm sorry, but you shouldn't have your world champion, not open the show. So they had Trent go ahead and open up the show with the best friends family drama. And I'm sorry, but they know Swerve's hot right now. They know that he's the big ticket item. You have people tuning in from the Big Bang Theory. You want to hold on to their attention. Use your champion. Use your number one guy. Say, hey, we're starting off with the world title match. Our AEW champion's coming out next. And I feel like I'm a little bit more upset that he had to go ahead and have a competitive match with Kyle Fletcher. Nothing against Fletcher. I mean, he had a good match, obviously, a few weeks back with Ospreay. But even with him holding titles, I don't. Everyone has a title right now. It's like, oh, you're going for the 4th belt of this person and the 7th belt of that. It doesn't mean anything. So saying Fletcher is a champ in any way doesn't feel like it's represented on TV because we've on AEW only seen him lose. It's not our responsibility to follow New Japan and Dark and Elevation and all. That's the thing, they need to show us why to believe in him. So we already knew Fletcher had no chance at the title. Why he got a title match, I'm kind of confused. Right? Anyone have a reason for this? Maybe it was made somewhere I didn't see. I know it was something about the Callis family and whatnot, but I didn't understand what they were going for here. So that was a waste, and they made their world champion look weak. It was a shit show of a match for me. Not that it was a bad match, but this is your champ, and he can barely beat this nobody in our AEW eyes. Kyle Fletcher is here coming out, and whether you love him or hate him, he's not presented as someone on the level of Swerve. Not many are. So what are we doing? How do we get out
Why
of this?
Why does he get a match?
We elevate him.
Why did that guy get a match? The wrestler.
I don't know why Fletcher got a match. I'm hoping somebody in the chat, maybe they heard something, but that's the thing. I mean, there was no reason to watch here, and then you're getting these huge spot moments. The brain buster should have been a 3 count. I mean, you got almost a 20-minute match here, Joe. I think it was closer to 15 actually,
right.
But the world champ looks like a bitch now because he couldn't beat Kyle Fletcher decisively for all that time. And
Yeah.
basically, they kind of made it look like, oh, he got a near fall with the pile driver, and Swerve just got lucky because he was able to get the Tree of Woe. You know, it was like he hit the stomp.
First of all, the champion shouldn't be wrestling tonight anyway to defend it. But if
He just
is,
won the title. This should be a celebration like you're doing with Willow, but for Swerve. What is wrong with them? This is their top guy.
they're idiots. That was the dumbest shit ever. I saw that right in real time and was like, what the fuck are they doing, bro?
And worse than that, they don't even open up the show with him. They go ahead and start off with the SUV showing up and, oh, okay, all right, you want to start that, fine. But then it leads into Orange Cassidy and the best friends and their little drama circle and who's betraying who and you're an asshole. I don't like any of you. We're not friends anymore. You can't come to my playhouse. That's what it turned into. And his mom's going to come in and yell at him. Like, who gives a shit? I'm having a hard time caring about the characters, and that was kind of the thing on Sunday. And no, I always would take a night 2 main event of WrestleMania with everything that happened in that match, even the ridiculousness of everybody interfering and the way they told the story. I like more the entertainment factor most times. Not that I don't like athleticism, but I would take that type of match personally over what we got with, Bryan Danielson's match. And I'm kind of tired of the strong style MMA things going on. Everyone's got to take 100 shots. Why are you standing there to take the elbows and the chops and the?
They look retarded.
I know you're trying to look like you're tough, but it just makes it look more fake and ridiculous because you're not laying them in. If you are, then you're just hurting each other. If not, then it looks shitty. So there's no plus to any of it,
dude. When they
regardless,
start chopping
they had
each
all
other,
these matches, but no stories. Yeah.
I hate that. I'm
what was
like,
the reason
what
that
the fuck are
Ospreay
you
had to
doing?
beat Bryan?
Why? Because he's the younger up and coming guy. Daniel wants to put him over.
But they didn't have any real story. They didn't have any real challenge. It was just and you can have the athletic competition of who's the better man, sure, but that was pretty much most of the night. I mean, really, there's not a ton of stories at this point. We're missing MJF. I don't feel like there's really many top stars right now that make me want to tune in. A while ago, it was Adam Cole, MJF, Punk. Now I don't really feel that way. Bryan Danielson, I'll always say that backwards now, forever will be, held in my heart, but I've not loved a lot that he's done with AEW. They've used him, I feel, kind of shittily. He should be a true main event guy. He should be that gatekeeper. And instead, he just has a lot of back and forth wins and losses traded with jobbers, and he faces nobodies.
I mean,
It
honestly,
just makes him
yeah.
feel
I mean,
overused.
why didn't Bryan Danielson have a big run with the title leading into Ospreay, and then Ospreay could beat him, or one of the titles, or something? Like, I don't know.
And we'll talk about the stuff with Jericho later, but that was horrendous to get through. And I don't know what you saw, but
I didn't see that.
The whole story is the Tiger Driver. All right, but is that enough of a story to? That's what came out of the match. That's the story that came out of the match. They could have made the story of the Tiger Driver going into the match and saying, that's how I took out Kenny, that's how I'm going to take out you, but they didn't. They had a story coming out of it that he's afraid to use a Tiger Driver, but he's going to have to use it to beat so-and-so. Okay, that's good, but that's a subplot. That's not a reason, and that's the unfortunate part. I used to love Jericho as well. I mean, I want to, Kurt, man. I do. In the chat, I do, but this whole learning tree, Lionheart, every 3 weeks changing to a different gimmick with 5 new catchphrases, all, being.
It's too much. He's having
it's
as much
overkill.
of he's having as much of an effect on younger talent now as Matt Hardy had with the Private Party or whatever. It's not doing anything. Jericho's already worn off his ability to get people over, because what's going on is Jericho is out right now. He's got no momentum and no nothing to him. So he's not able to put people over like you would think he could, because he's already worn it all out on so many people and so many things and whatever else, that now Jericho now needs to build himself up. Jericho needs to get himself back over again. And the FTW, it's not good. Nothing is good right now.
I thought he was a heel, then now he's a face, but he's been a face, but it's weird. Then he's pandering to the audience, so it feels insincere and like he's being a heel, but he's supposed to be a face, being like, I did this for you guys. We won this. But it comes across smarky and just unapologetic. And the problem here is that already does he have go away heat? Now you're stacking him with people that the audience doesn't give two shits about. I mean, how did Jericho elevate Ricky Starks? Let's ask him how he came out shining like a rose with that feud. Jericho
Right.
hasn't elevated many people that he's been with. People have come out of it maybe a little, less worse for wear sometimes, but for the most part, I feel like he brings them down. He brought MJF down in my eyes. It took a while to take him serious again. Now we've got Big Bill. Oh, the old cast coming down. And I would like to care about him, but the promo he cut, dear Jesus God, it sounded like he was reading Bible scripture. That's how scripted it sounded. And on top of it, it was nonsensical. I need to learn from you, the learning tree. And now Jericho's this tree of knowledge, and he's going to provide breath of how? What has he done to elevate anyone else? If you saw Jericho making people over and over again, maybe, but that's not the case here. I, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's supposed to be insincere, and that's the point behind it, but it just feels like all of it's a misdirection, and
Yeah.
they don't know where they're going. It's very confusing. I don't know. Jericho's promo went on forever. And you've got Cass sucking him off, calling him the Socrates of pro wrestling. Like, come on. It was just it felt like Jericho said, oh, you want a match? And then you got to go out there and fillet me on live TV. He went out, he said, Jericho, you're the best ever. You're amazing. I want to learn from you. Why? It's just, I was hyped on Sunday, and this is how they follow up with that great pay-per-view. I felt like AEW for the last few weeks has just been really on this downward spiral, just like the viewership, just like the ratings. Things have not been great. But the pay-per-view was phenomenal. They have great talents. The in-ring action was never, for the most part, the problem. But now, what's one story tonight that we want to see going forward? I'm not even really interested with the Tony Khan attack angle because I don't give a shit about the Young Bucks being champion and I'm done with them. It's boring. It's like them being smarmy heels should have been they should have done this angle years ago when they first turned heel. It feels like too little too late in a way. And there's so many times where they repeat things from WCW or even Attitude Era WWE, tonight's storyline. There's just a lack of originality right now. And
It feels like
not everything. It's okay when things are predictable. Look at what happened. WrestleMania was predictable, but it was enjoyable. The pay-per-view I thought was pretty predictable, but it was enjoyable.
right.
Predictability is not a bad thing. It's just that it makes them feel less believable, and then there's less of a desire to tune in. And now it's starting to feel like, all right, well, we can just skip watching AEW, tune in for the pay-per-view every 3 months to watch a great wrestling match, and then that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one thing is that everybody else has already fantasy booked this Tony getting attacked or Tony turning heel or the Bucks turning on Tony type of thing or whatever. Everybody's already fantasy booked this thing a million times over, that when they finally see this happen, it's just like, haha. I mean, obviously it was funny, but what did I get out of this? I'm going to be honest, guys. Like, the biggest thing I got out of this was watching Tony Khan's dad come out. I thought that was hilarious. I don't know why.
Yeah. And that shouldn't be funny. You know what I mean? This should have been like oh my God, look how concerned he is.
He does look, I'll tell you what,
twitching.
he does look like Saddam Hussein. But let me tell you this, he really does. He actually does look concerned. He did a good job, actually.
He was the best Khan selling all night.
Yeah, he sold better than his son. Like, Tony Khan's dad sells better than his son. He came out there concerned.
I'd love someone in the chat because I don't want to sound like I know I've been on a negative AEW train since I've come back, and that's unfortunate because maybe it's just because I like them so much that at one point in time, and I feel like they had a huge benefit because WWE was shitty.
Yeah.
So everybody wanted an alternative. We didn't get good matches really in WWE. NXT was like its own thing, but it was like this bastard child that Vince didn't want to pay any main roster attention to for a long time. Eventually they added it to Survivor Series, 5 years down the road, but it took a long time for NXT to become recognized, and then they went head-to-head with Dynamite, and we know how that played out. Point being, we wanted really great matches. We wanted better stories. We wanted things to feel real. All the shit in WWE was ridiculous. We didn't want the Revival having to shave each other's backs and Jon Moxley being allergic to the audience and this nonsense stuff. But WWE got better. And the problem was it doesn't seem like AEW continued to grow or get better.
No,
They've
they went
hired more
backwards.
people, their roster is bloated, and that's kind of a problem. You don't see a lot of these people often. You don't see a Kyle Fletcher, you don't see a Dante Martin. I'm trying to think who else.
Why is he getting a title shot? It's like, dude, Swerve just went through hell to get this match and to beat Samoa Joe. Now he comes out
with his own blood, Joe.
Right.
With his own blood.
And now he comes out and faces like the 1, 2, 3 kid for the title.
Yeah.
Makes no sense to me. Like, what is going on? Why?
I'm an honorable heel champion because Swerve's a heel, right? I mean, he did invade Hangman's house and he cut a promo on his baby, and we still cheered this man. I mean, it's hilarious. He's that cool heel, and that's the problem. He shouldn't be a cool heel that people want to cheer. You know, I don't really feel like Swerve's character got enough time to develop yet. So they turned him face quickly because of the crowd wanting to cheer him, but they didn't really turn his character face yet, I feel like. So if they're going to try and make him like a workhorse champion where he defends his belt all the time, I'm not so sure that's the best way to go.
No. In retrospect, we may look back on this and think, wow, you know, Samoa Joe should have carried the belt for a year. But, you know, waiting to see if Swerve could prove that he could still keep going. But everybody's just so happy for Swerve, and I am too, that we're just like, you know what, okay. Hell yeah, man, fuck yeah, Swerve did it, holy shit. But it felt like he did it really quickly. Like, it was a very, you know, this reminds me of,
yeah.
This is going to sound, of course it's going to sound terrible, because everybody's going to get their fucking SJW hats on. But remember how fast Kofi took off for WrestleMania? I feel like they envisioned it like that. Like, all of a sudden, Kofi was, like, super over, and then the WWE was like, oh, my God, okay,
Kofi Mania. It was like a week to,
Mm-hmm.
Mustafa Ali got injured. They put Kofi in the gauntlet, or in the Elimination Chamber, one of the two. And then he did that gauntlet match, and then the whole universe was like Kofi Mania. It was great. You know, they had that natural swell and groundswell of support. They kind of had a little bit of that with Swerve.
It's not as big,
but yeah, it wasn't this widespread thing.
But now he's going to have to prove it. Now he's going to have, like you just said, he's not. That was the best thing I've heard from anybody. What you just said, he's not fully developed. He's now the champion. Everybody likes him, but he's not fully developed. We don't know exactly what he's going to do. What is he going to do next? We don't know. So, like, he's either going to flounder. And I said this the other day. I said he's either going to flounder and have a problem, and you know, we'll be stuck trying to figure out who to put the belt on, or maybe this will help him rise up even more. But, man, it's full-on sink or swim time. But one way to bury the guy is put him out there with nobody who gets a title shot. He just devalued the title like crazy on AEW tonight. Why did that guy win a tournament or something that we don't know about to wrestle for the world fucking title right after the guy just won it Sunday? Like, does anybody know?
Nailed it. Why was he in this match? Why did he defend it? But they made no comment, and it didn't even open the show. They had to have the best friend bullshit come out first. So I really felt like Swerve should have been the first thing. Congratulations, you're the new champ. You're leading off the show. Like,
Jake, how about this? How about Swerve is like, oh, you know, I'm just showing up here because, you know, Tony told me about how, you know, we're going to do a little celebration and I'm going to go out there and have a speech or whatever. So I'm just looking forward to it, man. I'm still on cloud 9. And then all of a sudden the EVPs go, oh, yeah, man, sorry, you know, listen, change your plans. Yeah, you know, instead of that, actually, we're going to pick out an opponent for you tonight, and that belt's on the line tonight. And he's like, what? I just won it Sunday. What do you mean? There's no number one contender. It doesn't matter, man. Listen, you're a fighting champion. We're back in Jacksonville tonight. It's a big night being back here. So that belt's on the line, bro. And Swerve's like, what the fuck? Well, okay, man. I'll be ready, I guess. Like, and so the EVPs now get heat. They look like assholes, and now
they get heat, and he gets sympathy.
Right,
he nailed it.
Right,
he got nothing out of this. He didn't look like a definitive champion because he took forever to beat a nobody, essentially. And commentary didn't really put him over. They kind of put Kyle on the same level, so it was odd. And then Kyle got quite a few really close near falls, as I mentioned earlier. So it was really risky, and it made him look weak. It devalued their champion. If you're not first, you're last. When you're the champion, if you don't open the show, you're in the main event. If he didn't open, you know, they knew he wasn't going to be the main event, fine. He should have opened. And people say, why? He should be the first thing you see. A new champ should be the eye point of everything.
Right.
if they really want to push him like they say they do. And then you're having a gauntlet match later for the international championship, which I feel like no one gives a damn about that belt. People forgot about the TNT title that Adam Copeland
Oh,
has. Now you got this. No one cares. And the people in the match, Dante Martin, and then they throw in Penta, who never wins anything at this point. They throw in Kyle O'Reilly, and then Will Ospreay. All right. And then,
So
okay.
people are telling me it's not a title match. It wasn't a
That
title
opening
match?
match was for the title.
Yeah, I thought I heard him say that. Am I crazy? Was that match not for the title? Even if it wasn't, I mean, there's still problems, but it's still a problem.
If it might have been a title eliminator match. Maybe if he beat
No, somebody
him,
said so. It was if they beat him, then they get a title shot, which is the thing that always pisses me off about WWE.
Yeah, so why would you beat the champion to either way? So if it wasn't for the title eliminator match, I'm sorry, that's even worse. You're facing the champion for a match to beat the champion.
Yeah.
So that makes the point even worse. I'm sorry, that's not helping their case here.
Okay.
And they didn't make it clear really anyways. And we've been asking the chat for a while, and they just got to it now. So somebody clearly had to go back.
Yeah, I mean, even no matter what, it's stupid, and it's not me trying to save face. I don't give a shit. The bottom line is the champion is
wrong. I'm wrong, but this was bullshit.
The champion the champion is still wrestling a huge, a long match against a dude. It's like, why? Why is that happening? Just do what I said. Have the EVPs just be like, and if he wins tonight, then you've got to defend that title against him for real, or which is stupid. So that's dumb. I would never do that. Just do what I said. Can you just fucking do what I said, AEW? Why not do that? And then that sets up the EVPs. They're getting massive heat tonight on everybody. Now they made the champion mad. Dude, it makes fucking perfect sense what I said. What they did was stupid. They do these eliminator
matches often, and I hate them with a fucking passion. So that makes it worse. You're going to beat the champion for a chance to beat the champion.
Oh, my God. This is the greatest photo I've ever seen. Tony Khan's father is a legend. Like, this is the legend here. This is the guy that we're all watching this because of this guy, not because of Tony, right? This is the guy that made all the money. That's why Tony can play with the action figures here, or whatever everybody says. This is the guy. Looks like Saddam Hussein. I love him. He's the owner of the Jaguars. Listen, Tony Khan's father, this is fucking legendary right here. This is great. Eat your heart out, Linda McMahon.
And one thing I didn't bring up, and I try to be fair, I know things happen, but the audio tonight, my broken mic, I think would sound better. I'm sorry. I know it's outdoors, and I know it's hard at times. Like, they had issues one point with, like, fireworks going off. I remember it was, like, the weigh-in or something. Big Show was trying to work a scale, and all the pyro was going off from a baseball game. But, yeah, tonight it was just, like, bass and echo. You could hardly hear. I don't know what Serena Deeb said into the camera when she was talking at the end there. I could not make it out. Maybe someone in the chat can help me. I'm deaf and dumb as it is. But we did have Anna Jay take on Mina Shirakawa. Am I saying that right? Because I don't watch Stardom. I haven't really paid attention to New Japan or Stardom in a long time, as you know. And this was just not it for me. I mean, Mina, this is her first time wrestling in Dynamite, and this is how you're going to show her off. Okay. She beats Anna Jay. All right. But it just felt very weird thrown together, and then everything afterwards, and then Toni Storm coming out, and it led to Toni Storm, and Serena Deeb feuding. Okay, fine, but having this be the way to get there did not make it feel interesting at all. And I could not make out what she said to the camera.
It was still, like, again, one of the more, like it was still one of the better things is Toni Storm's stuff. You know, it's still, like, the more, because you know what she's doing, but, like, it wasn't very good either. I just thought tonight was not very good. A lot of people thought tonight was all right, I think, but
yeah, and
I don't know.
I guess Serena just said that she wanted. They said the actual, where is it? Someone just put it in the chat here. She said that the next time she touches a belt, it'll be the women's world championship. So she's going after that title. So all right, thank you, Jar. But yeah, the audio was bad. That match felt like a last minute throw in, and then we had Willow Nightingale come out, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to remember the spot. I wanted to watch it before this, and I didn't get a chance to. When Sasha got injured, didn't she fall off of the top of the turnbuckle, and that's how she hurt her ankle?
She fell
right?
off the turnbuckle and then came down on her leg wrong.
Yeah.
She thought she was going to land on the apron, I think, and then she missed that, so then she came down sideways on her ankle.
So they're making it out like Willow, Pillmanized her ankle here, because they keep saying like the way you injured me, the way. So they're not showing the footage because that's not what happened.
But we all saw what happened, so it's like, what?
She fucked herself up, and they're blaming Willow. Willow's the one that injured me. Of course, you don't want to hear my answer. I hate the CEO piped in chants that they have with the music. I hate her being the CEO, especially while they're doing the Young Bucks being the EVPs. It bothers me. If you're going to come to AEW, be a new character. Sasha Banks and Mercedes Moné is just Sasha Light. And she hasn't wrestled. You should have had her in a match at Dynasty. Why you haven't had Sasha wrestle yet, and they're waiting for Double or Nothing, blows my mind.
Real quick, that move is actually a move. Sasha was performing a move on Willow and hurt herself. So if you watch this, here it is. Sasha tries to throw down Willow's head, and Sasha gets hurt when she jumps off the apron to pull her by the hair to slingshot her off the right there. Boom! But she just falls on her leg. So it's like everyone saw this, millions.
Exactly. So how did Willow injure her? By not catching your dumbass?
Well, I just think it's like I got injured.
They're playing up that but they said tonight in the interview, are you blaming me for injuring you? Is that what you're doing? That's what Willow says to her. And then Mercedes goes on and on and on about, you really want to know my answer? You don't want to hear what I have to say. Well, yeah, she just asked you, bitch. Answer. It's open mic night. But that's not what we're getting. And it was just very boring, contrived, and fucking stupid. And it didn't need to be. They made Willow look like an idiot, blaming her for an accident that didn't actually happen for her.
Well, I mean, is Mercedes playing the heel then? And she's like, oh, I'm blaming you. You hurt me.
No, she genuinely was saying, like, she went ahead and she said, "Are you that bitch who attacked me?" Willow's like, "No," and then she goes into the whole thing. She's like, I feel like you have a vendetta against me. Do you think I intentionally injured you? And she said, and then Sasha's like, "Oh, well, if you blame me for almost ending my career and taking away what you love from me for a full year, you don't want to know the truth." So she is blaming her, obviously.
But so maybe that's making her the heel because it's ridiculous that she's saying that.
No, she's playing it up as Willow injured her. That's the story they're telling. Willow injured her intentionally is how Sasha's framing it, but she did it, and now Sasha wants revenge.
I guess I got to see it. I didn't see it. I mean,
quote for quote, that is directly as I read it to you from notes I took. So that is exactly. I mean, she literally said, "Are you blaming me for what happened here? Do you think I intentionally injured you?" And Sasha says, if you're wondering if I'm blaming you for almost ending my career and taking away what I love for a full year, you don't want to know the truth. So that's where she left off. And then it just turned into, she's like, "Well, I always had to wonder, would I have beat you if you were 100%? How is she not 100%? You beat her and then she fucked herself up. Like, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. And then going back and forth, there's this cattiness, but it's like, oh yeah, you. It feels more Mean Girls than wrestling. Especially when we're seeing, things go on in the other company of this full-fledged women division. This was a real drag.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out, man. I did not watch much AEW tonight. I tuned in a couple of times for some moments, and then I made the ultimate mistake in missing the last 30 minutes of the show, not knowing that Tony Khan was attacked until Jake told me at 10:10 when we were starting the show up. Jake's like, Tony Khan got attacked, and I'm like, what? I got to go watch that. That's why we're late coming on the air. Because I'm like, I got to see that. Let me play a couple donations because people donated. They're waiting to.
Yeah, you got to get them in.
Shit bomb. We get some other news.
Smiley face, smiley face, smiley face, smiley face, smiley face, smiley face, smiley face,
Jesus.
Smiley face, smiley face, smiley face, smiley face, neck brace Tony, book it.
Neck brace Tony, book it. So we got to see Tony Khan in a neck brace tomorrow at the NFL draft. And maybe his dad needs a piss bag with him, to bring a piss bag with him or something like that. Chief Wahoo, thanks for the $5. Also, we're going to get into this as well. in a second. We'll let another donation or two play, but we're going to get into it in a minute. I mean, bro, they are trying to give away tickets to an arena with 6,000 people, but they're only trying to fill 3,000 seats, and they can't even fill 3,000 seats out there in Jacksonville.
Shit, bum.
That's crazy.
Great win for the Bruins against the Maple Leafs.
What a great win. I watched it with my daughter tonight. I am fired up.
I figured you'd be pumped for that, Joe.
Dude, let me tell you, though, if you're a Maple Leafs fan, you've got to be pissed off, dude. I'm telling you, bro, if you're a Maple Leafs fan, you broke stuff in your house tonight because there was like a no penalty call on the Boston Bruins. And there was like the referees tonight were a mess, and if they're
all fearing for their life.
Oh my God, bro! Thank God the Bruins won, but the Maple Leafs fans are breaking stuff tonight. Like you talk about Matt Hardy broken. Maple Leafs are ripping up maple syrup and dumping it on homeless people's open wounds tonight. So that was great, though. I loved it as a Boston Bruins fan, but the Toronto Maple Leafs are.
Wait, we got a lot more to get to, so I'm going to ramble through this really quick, Joe.
One more, Jake.
Yeah, we got to get through it. So.
What's my name? Duncachino.
Hey,
It's a
Stacks.
whole new game. Duncachino. You want creamy goodness? I'm your friend. Say hello to my chocolate.
Hey, Stacks, Mone.
Sound on this podcast 1 billion times better than a broadcast tonight.
Yeah, that's all I heard on Twitter, even though I wasn't watching. Was this, what the hell is wrong with the AEW sound? Bro, what's wrong with the AEW sound and the lighting? AEW is awful at lighting and sound. Like, what are they doing? Like, how did they get worse? Did they fire people to save money or something? It's worse than it was. And the visuals, I mean, just go back to the Mercedes Moné attack interview thing. What was that? Who lit that? Who looked at the screen and was like, this lighting's good? Doesn't make sense. And the sound is awful. I don't know. Everybody had, mistakes happen and things go bad or whatever, but they're on a roll right now, production-wise. A roll of I mean, WWE is doing the best production they've done in a long time. Meanwhile, AEW is going backwards in their production. It's so strange. Haystacks Monet, thank you so much.
Well,
Jake, where
here's
do you
the
want to
thing.
go
I know
next?
people said there is misinformation, but we went ahead. I actually double-checked. This is coming from their local affiliate there, their local news station that says that they were looking to hire seat fillers for tonight. They were looking for at least, a few dozen fillers. And they published their notice for Military Affairs and Veterans Department to also request them as seat fillers as well. So there was a two-thing going on. They had the request for veterans to bring in as seat fillers to go ahead and offer them to come to the show, but they were also having paid seat fillers, as reported by the local news, because they didn't even have 2,200 seats filled at that point out of a 6K arena they had set up for 3,000, like you said. So, yeah, not a great look.
And WWE does this obviously, but it's just that, and so Dax recanted that, or like Dax said, no, this was military people. They always do this. So this was like a skewed story.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Essentially, at first it was, but I guess there was two different things going on. So there was paid seat fillers and also bringing in veterans. So.
Oh. Well, they love using veterans to fill seats. So, I mean, that's the same.
Exactly. Same difference. Still not a good look when, WWE's being passive-aggressive in their own way by bragging about selling out every arena.
They're rubbing it in, man.
I know more than anything. I'm just reading the report.
They're rubbing it in, man. WWE will kick... Dude, if you want to mess around and talk shit about WWE, they will kick you when you're down. They are kicking AEW when they're down. That's what's happening. But let's talk more about, once again, Tony Khan's father. My God, bro. Put this guy...
This was CBS 47 down in Jacksonville that was reporting the other side of this. And then they said that was refuted. But no, they were bringing in people for tonight as veterans, and then they have Saturday in Jacksonville, the 27th, for Collision, where they're requesting paid seat fillers, not veterans.
Yeah. Which makes, I mean, listen.
It wasn't just tonight's show. Tonight they're bringing in the veterans.
They do it every night.
They have paid people to go and fill the audience.
They're going to do it. Every wrestling company does it.
But WWE doesn't get it advertised on local news on Fox 30 and CBS 47. So, I mean, that's what made them look piss poor here, because they can't do it.
Right.
Sorry, I was not being an ass, but I don't want to be negative tonight. I really didn't. I wanted to come in here. I was excited.
I'm not saying you are.
No, not you. I mean, some in the chat feel that way. I didn't hate tonight. I was just so disappointed. I wanted Willow to have like this big moment, and instead Sasha, literally, excuse me, Mercedes, I'm forever going to forget that too. She went ahead and not just interrupting her, but I felt like her involvement just overshadowed everything. And really, I don't feel like any of this built towards their feud anymore. It just made it feel more ridiculous. Then we get this match. That it's a gauntlet match for a title that no one gives a shit about, but we get Jay White taking on Dante Martin. Of course, he's going to lose. Then you get Penta. All right. Kyle O'Reilly. Maybe he can win, but he just lost. All right, we'll see what happens. Then we get Will Ospreay. The fans, all right, here we go. We got a guy, a top guy, someone we want to care about. And then they put him up against Lance Archer, and then the last guy to come in is fucking Commander. Everybody... So not only did you telegraph that Ospreay is going to win, I mean, obviously anybody knows Ospreay being involved. He hasn't lost yet. He's going to win this. He's on a winning streak, of course. But to put him up against Commander, they couldn't give him anybody else with a little bit more cred to this. I mean, so it just felt. Then you get Jay Lethal, and it's like. Again, you know, no one that feels credible or like an actual threat to Ospreay.
Well, plus it's always random people that like don't have anything. Like how many reoccurring
Nothing
people
going on, no story.
They're out of nowhere.
Seen them in months.
Yeah, out of nowhere. I've got a shot at this thing. Where are the reoccurring fucking people that you can tell stories with or build matches and whatever that makes some sense? Yeah, it's okay for a couple spontaneous things, you know, or random pairings. I don't want to know about everything that's going to happen all night, of course. But like so much shit is like, hey, just wrestle this guy we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
What?
And then, not to even drag it down more, but then we had Moxley defending his IWGP title. So the head title from another company that you're defending on your show, not even one you own, not even like it's Ring of Honor. He's taking on Hobbs, and about 4 minutes in, Hobbs, pain in the ass. He goes ahead and starts jumping to the floor, and oh no, hurts his knee on the suicide dive. And Hobbs stays down, and he's, you know, holding his knee as Moxley hits him, diving out of the ring. The ref checks him. The ref speaking to Moxley. They go back in the ring, and you can just tell. I think it was a legitimate injury. I don't think they were intentionally going to try and like sell an injury angle here. I wish that wasn't the case, but it looked like they just called an audible and kind of cut it a little bit short with a bulldog choke at the end. So this was really disappointing and shitty. I'm sorry. It was just very, very lackluster. And if the injury is legit, I feel bad. If not, then it was a really, really weird point to the match. I think it was legitimate because it looked like they called an audible, but you don't know with AEW. So
yeah.
Then we had the Jack Perry stuff, and that was it. And I mean, that's okay, but it's just not this. I wanted something big to you know, newsworthy. Oh, they hit Tony. All right, but it just in the Meltzer driver that always looked shitty to begin with. I wish they just, you know, really laid into him with a weapon or something. They could have made him bleed. Do it backstage then. You know, they could have edited this better. It just, I don't know. Seeing his dad did pop me, like you said, trying to look concerned, but I'm not sold with the Elite in their new form with Jack Perry.
Well, I will say one thing. If it didn't happen, I probably would say almost nothing about Dynamite tonight. If Tony Khan had not been attacked by everybody physically on the show, I probably would have said, why is Swerve facing some random guy? This makes no sense. And then I would have said, oh, well, fuck it. And I wouldn't have said anything else about the show tonight. That's it. So, and I probably wouldn't even want to talk about it and would say, don't even bother, Jake. Let's get to the draft. So,
yeah.
There you
speaking
go.
of the draft, here we go, Joe. We got big things coming up. Night one is this Friday.
I'll tell you real quick. I don't even want the draft. I hate the draft, and I just hate it. So everyone loves it, though. Everyone's excited, so good for everybody.
Well,
let's
I'm
talk
going to
about
tell
it.
you something. I'm kind of intrigued, and I think you might be too when I give you a little more info. So don't be sour on it yet. Give me a minute. Let me see if I change your mind. Night one is this Friday on SmackDown. So on SmackDown, there will be 4 rounds for a total of 16 picks. Monday, April 29th on Raw will be night 2 of the draft. There will be 6 rounds, 24 picks altogether. Now, the champions on both shows are protected and can't be traded because they have that branding. You know, you have the World Heavyweight Championship, World Heavyweight Tag Teams.
I don't even believe these rules, though. I don't believe them. I don't believe they'll do this. They lie.
Well, here's the thing. Hold on. I'm kind of we've been ruined by Vince for so many years. This is the first Triple H draft. So it says women's tag team champions are eligible to be drafted. SmackDown picks first on Friday. Raw picks first on Monday. The rosters lock Monday, May 6th.
Okay.
So they're saying they're sticking to it. You're not going to see people crossing over shows and going. They are locking the rosters as of Monday, May 6th. There will be no superstar third-hour trades.
See, I think
you
that's
may
stupid.
see people go back and forth to NXT, I guess, but they're going to actually draft supposedly some main roster people to NXT this time. One of the rumors is Nakamura. We'll see what happens, but it'd be interesting to see him go back. But they're very adamant about, them locking the rosters, and that's always been the problem of why the draft felt pointless. Because then Vince introduced the, trade rule, and you could trade, 3 stars per night, and I meant 5, 7 stars, and Raw third hour is going to be the fight pit. It was ridiculous back then, so it didn't work. If they stick to it and we have just Raw, just SmackDown, maybe you can get some brand supremacy going on in a rivalry. And when we get to Survivor Series, we're like, oh, no, I like the SmackDown guys better. You get loyalty. You get a reason, a purpose.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, one show's going to be on Netflix that could be viewed by 120 million people, and the other show is going to be on the USA Network that could be viewed by up to 5 million people.
Yeah, but you don't know for how long. They're testing Netflix, and if it goes as well as it does, the supposed rumor is WWE eventually will be full on with Netflix for all their content.
Well,
so if Raw goes well, the way the contracts are laid out, they will supposedly want to get away from cable television.
I don't get why separate these groups. I would think you would want cross pollination on Netflix and USA Network if in fact we're in such different platforms, you know what I mean, that you would want the crossover. They're really going to paint themselves into a corner.
Well, that's why Peacock made sense, Joe, with USA, because they're all tied together. So it was like, NBC, Universal, I get it. So Netflix having Peacock or Fox or any of it doesn't add up together. And supposedly the way it's working is they want to test out the live function. They're doing small things up until Raw goes live. They've done comedy specials and things of that ilk live so far, and it's gone well on Netflix. So they want to, keep building up their streaming for live streaming capacity, and they're going to be doing more things going forward. But supposedly, if this goes well, it's unprecedented. No one's moved from cable full time into a live subscription service like Netflix, a streaming channel. So if it goes well, supposedly, they'll be fully on Netflix. I can see them going full bore on there. Then they can advertise freely. They don't need commercial breaks. They don't need, there's a lot of things that they can do because now they have another direct revenue source as well. Netflix is better laid out and run and managed than Peacock. The Peacock app is a pain in the ass. I'm sorry. It's very ancient and slow and non-responsive. I miss the WWE network, but let's see what Netflix can do, and I'm genuinely excited for the draft.
Those numbers,
first time in a long time.
I cannot wait. We got it. It's all going to be about what are the numbers on Netflix. What are the numbers going to be? It's going to be very interesting.
I'm dying to know because they have such a vast audience to really get a chance to steal from, and WWE wrestling in general has been having a resurgence, a renaissance. Everyone keeps saying it. Wrestling's cool again. Cody made wrestling's cool, And
no, The Rock said he made wrestling cool again.
Maybe he did, with a heel attitude, swearing down to the ring and trashing, every person in sight. Him rumming his mouth and swearing, he might have. And actually, because of that, one of the things, I don't know if you heard, but he got a lot as part of that TKO deal. So they said that the contract includes basically a carve-out, so it allows all of Johnson, with his specific approval, to hire anyone he wants to develop concepts, scripts, storylines, and WWE has to reimburse him for the cost of any such services. So basically, they're paying for Brian Gewirtz to come in and write The Rock's lines, but they have that reimbursed. Johnson also gets a total of 30 million in TKO equity transferred to him periodically as part of the deal. And his entire compensation, we don't know yet, but it's likely to be well over $100 million. They There's a lot to it. So they said right here, the deal itself, like I said, he gets the equity, so it'll go over the next 5 years that it'll be transferred to him. It's supposed to be the end of 2025, but it may be they said that most of the money will be doled out by the end of 2024. So it'll be a 5-year deal, but he'll be paid by the end of 2025. And that IP, which includes The Rock, all of his catchphrases, his everything, it cannot be used on any political ad, alcohol, tobacco, marijuana, porn, pop-up ad, nothing without Johnson's approval.
Right.
He has to approve everything, and there's limits on what he can be used for, nothing that's going to be divisive. He owns, or at least has, he's now owning and licensing all of those things to WWE for up to the next 10 years. And he has termination rights. Right now, even just from what The Rock was getting from before he came back and his old merch and DVD sales, all those kind of things, he was getting $491,000 in royalty in 2023. So, and that's when most people are making jack squat from royalties from older things, not merchandise. So,
yeah, this is the god tier, whatever deal or whatever you want to call it. You talk about Legends
he's got it
contract.
made.
Yeah, the Undertaker's probably like, "Fuck, I thought I was good." You got destroyed. But let me tell you this. Going into shit. What was I gonna say? Oh, I lost what I was gonna say. Fuck. I don't remember what I was gonna say.
You feel like me.
Don't remember. Oh, the numbers. Yeah, so I don't know what people are talking about. Netflix doesn't release numbers right now, but we had heard there was like a big report that starting next year, right as the Raw was coming to Netflix, the Netflix was going to start releasing the numbers. So that's what they don't release numbers now, because Haskell in the chat just said Netflix just announced they're going to stop sharing numbers, but Netflix doesn't share numbers. But I thought they were announcing that they're going to be sharing numbers because there's like a new law or there's like a new thing or a measuring stick that has to be whatever. So I thought that was coming in 2025. So we're going to have to look that up. But I was under the impression that, because I was like, oh, man, but who cares? You'll never know what the numbers are, so it doesn't matter. I was saying that to everybody. Like, yeah, who cares? You'll never know the numbers now. We used to know numbers. We're not going to know them now. But then I was told, oh, you'll know them because there's a new thing coming or whatever. 21 million views, but how many of that was people who watched it, stopped and restarted it? What are we talking about? What's 21 million views? It's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say. It's like we don't know what the analytics are. How many people stopped and watched it? You would only know if they release the numbers quickly, like very quickly. And I don't think they count repetitive views. So they have the same ability as all of us on YouTube. Netflix has the ability to see if the same user clicked on the video several times, and they can actually filter that out. So they can filter all users, like how many people clicked on this video within the first 24 hours of it, and then eliminate, and they can literally click the button to eliminate double clicks. So they can say how many people clicked on this and eliminate all clicks after 2. So they might factor in 2 or 1 or not or whatever, or 3 or 4 or 5. So they already know how to do that. They can do that. They can filter that out. So if you clicked on the video 5 times over the course of 3 days to watch it over and over again, they can factor that out. So they can find out, a million watched it. Well, but you're right.
Exactly.
Will
they share? We don't know. That's one of the Ringer put out an article when they announced this sale was happening to Netflix for $5 billion over a 10-year period. And they said this will make Raw, Netflix, the home for Raw in the United States, Canada, Mexico, Latin America, the United Kingdom. And outside of the United States, Netflix will be the home for SmackDown, NXT, Raw, obviously, and their premium live events, including WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam. So the question the article raises is, will they be moving, will they be releasing numbers to show what they're doing going forward? So I don't see anything about it being confirmed they're going to share, but people are obviously curious. What I do see here, though, is that SmackDown, as we said, October will be going this year to the USA Network. NXT will make its CW debut the same month. And then we're going to obviously see Netflix start in January with Raw. But the thing of it here is there's also a proposal right now. Raw may not be 3 hours going forward. The only reason they make it 3 hours is to support the advertiser commitments that Vince McMahon laid out previously with the network deals. Going forward, they have a whole different way to advertise. Netflix is a paid subscription service, and they do have tiers on Netflix, but are they going to change it? Like you get ads on live views, or if you pay more, you don't. We don't know what's going to happen, what's going to change, what's going to be going forward. So there's a lot of questions and what ifs going on. More questions than answers, unfortunately, Joe. But damn, I'm excited to see what happens. I mean, no, they don't have to immediately no longer be PG, but at least they'll have that option. They're not restrained. They're not, especially when they've been lately going away from sports entertainment and be calling themselves wrestlers again, say pro wrestling. They've been getting a bit more abrasive with their language. They don't have to be swearing and flipping everybody off constantly, but you want it to feel more real, and I feel like they've gotten that. Look at how Drew is acting right now. He's been such an enjoyment this whole time.
Imagine if WWE started saying pro wrestling that's actually good.
Shit bomb.
That'd be funny.
If there was one time when blood was necessary, it was for that ending.
Right.
Also, the learning tree might get over, but not with Big Bill. Tony should have bled a lot. Jack Berry attacking TK was step 1, LFG.
Let's fucking go. Robbie, let's fucking go. Robbie, thank you for the $5 and becoming a $5 shit bum. And I want to tell all you guys, the 666 KANE donation is back too, by the way, just so you know. Well, as we're getting towards where we're at here on the show, we opened up the donations. They're on. If you guys want to say something, you want to get it in before the show's over, feel free to super chat, donate it now. The link is pinned on
Ken
the chat.
Blakely just subscribed. There we go. And
Blakely.
Joe, NXT's ratings went up too. They
Really?
averaged 661,000 viewers. That sounds bad till you realize they went up against the NBA and the NHL playoffs.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. They probably could hit 700
Hey,
something.
Bullfrog is a
Both
moron.
hockey playoffs and NBA playoffs. So.
Scissor me, Joe!
Tony gets hit in the stomach, falls flat on his back like he was KO'd. 2 seconds later, grabs his stomach, gets pile driven, and only the refs run out. After Eli leave and raise their hands, come back to the ring, and then all the B and C list talent run out.
That's the thing that they screwed up on, Haskell. Like they should have had people hit the ring like that we'd never seen, security people and stuff. Like they almost should have had like an undercover type of security showing up. I mean, I hope going forward that he has like Secret Service with him or something. But I don't know.
Hey, Bullfrog is a moron.
It was weird.
Scissor me, Joe!
Haskell.
Why didn't the talent run out after their boss got hit in the stomach?
Right.
If some of the talent ran out, including top stars, you have the elite take them out, which brings and builds heat and future angles. After they pile drive Tony, more run out, and then they leave.
Yeah,
No kidding.
There was
it didn't feel like an emergency.
Yeah, and it felt like a lot of missed opportunities tonight, even though
No urgency. They held him in that pile driver position forever. And really quick before I forget, Joe, they were up from last week by like 40,000 viewers in NXT. So even with all that competition.
Wow.
$9 for a fuck. Someone donated 9. I'm getting hard. I got 9 inches inside of your wife. $9. I'm shooting my semen to the ceiling. I'm coming and my balls have turned blue. $9. Suck my dick.
This Tony Khan attack angle is going to lead to one of two things. Either AU will enter its Attitude Era where the EVPs will bully Tony, or take over the company in kayfabe. Or this will be like the devil storyline and die quickly. WWE becoming better.
Yeah, WWE is becoming better. Ray J's World, thank you for the $9. You probably...
It's yeah.
It could,
We'll see.
It could be
And what's
true.
crazy too is, I mean, look at how many people are injured in both companies right now, but
Right.
especially WWE. I mean, now we see that Jimmy Uso will not be drafted. He's out with an injury, so that's unfortunate. He got injured. They said possibly at WrestleMania.
Probably
with
the
that
Mania.
stuff going down. Yeah.
Remember that, dude? I was on my porch. I made
You
a
called
video,
it.
and I was like, bro. Like,
I hope the Usos are okay. You said it.
That was because, dude, that was crazy. That fall.
That was a brutal fall.
There was
Even
no
the
way to-
tables barely caught them, so it didn't really break their fall. Dominic Mysterio has a shoulder injury, just like Rhea Ripley. Shotzi's been out for a while with her knee from NXT. Piper Niven's out. CM Punk, obviously. Charlotte Flair. Eric, so Ivar. You know, Eric had neck fusion last October. He got a C6 and C7 neck fusion.
Ugh.
Wesley's out from back surgery. Sonya Deville has a torn ACL. Seth Rollins just had his knee operated on. He had a torn ACL and something else Becky was talking about on the podcast she was on the week before. And he wrestled through Mania with all the tear in his knee. And mine's torn. I know how it is. It hurts. You know, torn meniscus, torn... yeah, he had a torn meniscus and torn ACL. That's what it was. So they went ahead and had to go ahead and have surgery for Seth. So hopefully he can heal and come back soon enough. Braun Strowman, he underwent fusion surgery, I believe it was. He had surgery on his C4 and 5. I believe it was fusion surgery. But Bobby Roode, I mean, he's been backstage since his injury. But with his neck injury, he underwent surgery December of 2022. And he's been a producer ever since. So I don't think he'll ever be able to wrestle again, sadly. Big E, of course, still on the injured list. We don't know if he'll ever come back. Doesn't seem like it's in the cards, but... I mean, so these are a lot of people that aren't being drafted, and it's unfortunate because there's a lot of big names there that meant something. I could have seen Braun Strowman challenging Cody Rhodes for the title. That would be, you know, you need big challengers for Cody. He needs to overcome obstacles. What's the next chapter? What's the next story? What's the next... That's the problem right now. Fans are already wanting the belt off of him, and there's a small outcry of people being fed up. You got to give things a chance and let it build. Now we've got, you know, a challenger in AJ Styles. Let's see what happens. AJ looks incredible. Christ, he's fucking stacked at this point. But it is unfortunate that Jimmy Uso will not be able to go ahead and be there as well. So a lot of injuries and a lot of problems right now. And last story here for you, Joe, is that Janelle Grant just filed a new motion to strike in response to yesterday. Vince McMahon filed a new filing in the Vince McMahon versus Janelle Grant case. And instead of using the motion to raise legal arguments, basically defending himself, Vince instead used this to just slander her and launch all of these, as they call it, vicious falsehoods. But he attacked her character, her moral judgments. He went after her every which way in these opening statements. So now she's filing a motion to strike everything that's been put in. So this thing is just really not good. They said Mr. McMahon's lies are easily disproven. While Janelle's father was in in-home hospice care during his final days, Janelle continued to provide him with around-the-clock care. Like, basically, they refute every single lie that Vince came out with actual proof, either text messages, filings, work time cards, things like that. Like, she has proof of everything so far that she's claimed, except being shit on. If only she can get the security footage. But no, this woman needs to go ahead and get her justice. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This has been awful. And Vince is a bastard. We knew that. We knew he wasn't... He never once basically said that what she said didn't happen. He just came out and attacked her character and her morals and her judgment and basically called her everything but a whore. And so he didn't defend himself, but he just attacked her. And it's like, why do you... He tried to assert his dominance once again. You know, it's a tactic you've seen him use.
What if instead of that he was just like, listen, I'm not going to say anything bad about her because here's the thing, she went through a lot, you know, but everything we did was consensual to me, and I feel bad for her because of her situation, and but I do dispute those terrible things that she said, obviously, and that sort of thing. He would have appeared more
humane. Yeah,
if he
exactly.
had
We both said it. Yeah, he has no, that was like ringside news today. They put out that report that I showed you, and it was just so
weird.
crass and unnecessary, and it's like any wrestlers dealing with personal issues, especially miscarriages, posting that as like fan news is disgusting and so unnecessary. There was no need for any of that to be reported. And obviously it's in the limelight, so it's not going to dance around it.
Well, did we read the article? Did he put it out there, or?
Well, Danhausen and his wife did. His wife went ahead and put out a statement because people knew that she was expecting. So instead of having to tell people over and over, she put out this very poignant yet brief statement that said, "Hey, I'm not able to talk about it. This is what happened. It's painful. I want to leave it be. This is just so you people know, because you don't want everybody coming up to you still being like, hey, when are you due? You got enough to deal with, dealing with a miscarriage. So thoughts and prayers to them. That really, really is an awful situation. And even though they put it out there, like, I don't feel like all, the wrestling side of things needed to pick up on that and report it and share it over and over and engagement farm on Twitter with it. And I just felt like it was really underhanded and I don't know, not necessary with everything. So, and especially the way it was reported too. They have a graphic up, and miscarriage, all big letters. Like, come on.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess like if
we're assholes on this show at times. Even we joke about things, but there was no humor. There was nothing to try and alleviate anything and be like, oh, we're sorry. Let's bestow some type of like apology or bereavement. Nothing. There was just they did it to engage, and that's what they got. So,
I guess I can't. I don't know, man. I can't crap on them for that if they publicly like are reporting something that's been put out publicly. I could. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird article, I guess. But I mean,
yeah.
I mean, what are you gonna not report on Bray Wyatt's death too? I mean, like I don't. You know what I mean?
That's
like, what's the difference?
Though. That's different. Like, what is it? Why does anyone in wrestling have to know this?
Well, they told people. Now it's news.
She did, and she made it very purposeful, and I don't know. It's weird.
They're but I mean, like other people go, I'm dealing with this thing, or I'm dealing with that, and then it becomes news. It's news everywhere. Like,
no,
hey,
you're not wrong.
I'm dealing with depression, like SETI says, dealing with depression,
Yeah.
Or like I have
even that
anxiety.
stuff I've been down on too before.
I've got cancer. Oh, what's his face dealing with cancer? Like Lars Sullivan was just attacked at a spa or whatever, and that was weird. What does that have to do with wrestling? He's not even in wrestling anymore. Everybody covered that. So it's like, I mean, I don't know. I just don't. That one I don't. I guess as long as they
because it
released
wasn't on her like public account, it was on like a private friend's Instagram that she posted this. Like, it wasn't meant to be a big shared like to every, like, it was publicly posted, yes, but it was only to her small group of like an Instagram thing. It wasn't her posting on her branded sites or their Twitters or stuff like that I saw. It was only the one post on her private Instagram.
Yeah, that's weird. I guess that's weird if somebody hunted down her private Instagram, if it's private.
Yeah, to go ahead and quote that and bring it up. It's just a really, like I said,
it was weird. It was some. I saw that. I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, okay.
Certainly
Super chat.
But I mean, that's a crazy thing.
Shat Khan sucks at owning my Jaguars, but he sure can sell.
Yes, yeah, he looked good tonight. Mastro's World. What up? Thank you for the $4.99.
I guess my point is Bray Wyatt dying. Vince having cancer, whatever it is, those affect the wrestling business. This doesn't. So what was the purpose of sharing this with wrestling news, I guess?
Right.
When they didn't even announce when
like
they were
when
pregnant.
CM Punk was getting married or whatever.
Yeah, but even then, I guess, that's personal, but it's like a joyous thing. They asked for privacy with this, too.
Duncachino. It's a whole new game. Duncachino. You want creamy goodness? I'm your friend. Say hello to my chocolate blend.
Anna J. Kiss count was 3 tonight.
Ooh.
2 on Mina and 1 on Mariah. DraftKings had it at 0.5.
Hey, Stacks Monet, thanks for the $12. What is going on, man? She's kissing everybody, and I didn't even see it. Jesus. Hey, Stacks, thank you, bro. Hey, listen. Oh yeah. So if they ask for privacy, then that's different. Like if they were like, "Hey, please." Yeah. But I mean, families ask for privacy after someone dies, and they announce it everywhere too. So I don't know.
But I guess if someone dies, they're not going to be on wrestling anymore. Bray's not going to be on TV. Like, that needs to be told. This doesn't affect the storyline. It doesn't affect anything in wrestling. It's not like, oh, you won't see Danhausen on TV for 6 weeks, and he was the champion, and now he's going to be gone, and this is why. There was just no relation to the wrestling world, I think, for this that I had a problem with.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna.
I guess that's the way I was looking at it. Yeah,
Yeah,
and,
it is.
and there
I
is
thought it
an
was
issue.
weird at the beginning when I first saw it. I was like, "What the fuck is this a story?"
76% of people. Geez, I can't talk today. Can go ahead and conceive after having a miscarriage, but there are enough of a percentage of people that have issues having
What if
children after a
Tony's
miscarriage.
behind this like Bischoff was in NWO?
Yeah,
So Tony's really in the EVP.
imagine
pocket.
imagine if Eric Bischoff is behind this, and this whole feud that's been going on with Eric Bischoff and Tony Khan in the podcasting world is because the EVPs and everybody went in with TBS behind Tony Khan's back to
That's
bring
how
in.
Bischoff brings in Goldberg. That's why he said it's a shit show. He's shitting on the company to come
Oh
in
my
with Bischoff.
god, Bischoff and
Makes sense.
Goldberg
New
show up
AEW.
in AEW.
The AEW is now the NWO.
We're bringing in someone new because you couldn't get the job done, Tony Khan. Imagine that. Oh my god, bro.
It could be crazy. Oh god, that'd be awful.
That would be crazy. My daughter's like, I don't feel good. Oh, great.
That's never good.
She was already out today with not feeling good. But we, I don't know. Jack Perry, I will see what happens. We're still gonna have to wait to see how he does with this whole thing. We'll see what happens Friday night on SmackDown. Listen,
Yeah, and you and I are also. I know at some point we said, well, we're going to be talking about who do we think could be the next big star to leave AEW for WWE and vice versa. Who would leave WWE for AEW? So you and I are going to go over some of our thoughts, predictions, use a little bit of analysis and some numbers, Joe. Add a little statistics to it to go ahead and say, hey, I think this person is. I've got a few ideas as well for future shows we'll enjoy, but people can look forward to that. Hopefully this weekend we'll get together, if not soon enough.
did Swerve come out with an 0-1 record, by the way? Did I see that right when he came out?
I didn't catch it.
They showed his record, and I was like, what does that say? And I was far away.
That would be hilarious if that was the case.
It looked like it looked like it was like, oh, wait, I got it right here. We're going to find out in a second. I'm going to find out. Let's see. Here he comes. Okay, so they're gonna put the graphic up any second. All right, he's coming.
I don't know
out.
how Triple M's still awake. He was in the chat. He was out of work at 6 this morning and still going.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
He pulled the Cronin.
Oh, there it is.
That's
There it is.
good.
There's the graphic. Okay, 9-1-1. There it is. Okay, okay. The 9 looked like a 1. I was like, oh, or a
They
0.
mess up those things quite often, so it wouldn't have been like a uncommon thing. I could picture.
I would be like, dude, who gives a shit what my record is? I got the belt, bitch. Like, what the fuck?
And I don't want to be down on AEW. I want to see them innovate. I don't want to see them flounder and lose viewership and not feel interesting. But WWE's been innovating lately. The camera angles and the cuts and things they're doing. The shot to follow Sammy into the arena after following Jay out. That was great. Everybody talking about that stuff. And it's like, damn, I want to see more things advance in AEW, and a lot of times it feels like they're just rehashing and recreating old storylines from yesteryear that they were favorites of, instead of doing things that could be new or just getting a lot of repeats. So
Right.
I hope we get some new creative content going forward, and I really want to see some big advancement in the heel side of things, because I'm tired of, they're cool heels. No, I want some people we can hate. We need some heat again. I want to look at you and be like, God damn, I respect you, but I want you to die. I
Yeah.
need to feel that rage again. Like Roman, against Cody. It's like, oh, you are the tribal chief. I acknowledge you, but I wanted to see you fucking die. That's the thing. I wanted to see him destroyed at Mania. I don't really have that hate for the Young Bucks here. Had they played up Tony like really being ostracized and fucked with for weeks, and it's so horrible, and now they made him bleed in front of his dad, and they should have had Shad come out there. I would have had Shad and Tony come out. Guys, they're here for the NFL draft. Let's give it up. And then I would have attacked both of them. I would have Meltzer drivered Tony, and then I would have cut Shad's head open with a fucking pizza cutter. Something like.
Imagine if they should have hit Chad's dad in the head with the WWE NFL title belt of the team that beat the Jaguars.
Now that would have been. Oh.
Who beat the Jaguars? Was it Kansas? I forget who it was. Somebody.
And WWE is now listing the Bloodline as Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Paul Heyman, and Roman Reigns. So Roman's still in there, but as we know, Jimmy's out and Tama's in. So it's his BFT. We'll see what's coming. As we know, Jacob Fatu making his way down eventually as well. All to lead up to the Usos taking on, with Roman, that Bloodline taking on the new Bloodline. Predictable. Gonna be awesome. I just want to go ahead and get some reasons to care, because that's the thing. The match with Swerve, it was not a bad match. Him and Kyle had a very good match, but again, character, storytelling, those are the things that I care about. And when I sit there and I'm like, damn, I don't know why they're fighting. Why does he look weak? This is your when you question things, it takes you out of it. I would just like to see Swerve presented bigger.
Yeah.
He should have gotten that welcome home celebration today. He should have gotten the Adam Goof Troop following him to the ring, and he needed his own Rainbow Express of, everybody swerving while they drive. He should have had a huge entrance tonight. They should have presented him with some special title, something, anything, except for a long competitive match that made him look like a jackass, like he couldn't get the job done.
Yeah, I was not a fan of this at all. Guys, thanks for being here. We'll catch you next week on the Patreon. Outta Nowhere will be live on the Patreon next week. So make sure you're on patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show and check it out live on patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show on Outta Nowhere Wednesday night. And that's it, man. Thank you, Jake. Sexy Pie.
Yeah, we got more to come. Hopefully we'll catch each other over the weekend. Got more to come on Patreon as well. And Monetize This coming up live Saturday. You'll be live Friday, I'm sure, for SmackDown as well. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, we'll be ready to go.
Big week for wrestling, SmackDown Friday. You got the draft Monday. Maybe I'll have to show up for the draft on Monday. We'll see. But I will talk to you soon. Everybody in the chat, stay sexy. Have a great night. And Joe, kisses, baby.
Look at that. Shad Khan is a beast. Good night, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Sexy.
Jake, thank you to Jake, man, for making it in here. Despite all his medical issues, this motherfucker makes it to Outta Nowhere tonight. Thank you to Jake. Thank you to you guys. I think there's a lot more we could cover, but, man, the time flew by real quick. Feel free to hit the like button on your way out.